Subversive Acts of Humanity, a survival guide for choosing evolution over self-destruction. Written by Ken Brenneman. Narrated using lifelike AI voice technology. This audiobook is a heartfelt invitation to explore grief, healing, compassion, and transformation. Whether you're listening in moments of stillness or alongside the noise of everyday life, may these words offer you space to breathe, reflect, and reconnect with what truly matters. Let's begin. Title and copyright: Subversive Acts of Humanity, a survival guide for choosing evolution over self-destruction. Copyright 2025, Ken Brenneman. Published by Mindfully Mortal Publications. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, stored in a database and / or published in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of the publisher. ISBN 979-8-9 92428-2-2-3. Creative Commons license. This book is meant to be shared, adapted, and built upon. Every part of it, its ideas, stories, and practices, can be copied, remixed, and passed on. Knowledge thrives when it moves, evolves, and inspires. If this book sparks something in you, let it spread. The only request is to honor those who brought this wisdom forward, give credit where credit is due, acknowledge the sources, and keep the spirit of sharing alive. This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License, CBY 4.0. This means you are free to share and adapt it, even for commercial purposes, as long as you provide appropriate credit. For more details, visit https://creativecommons.org/licenses/by/4.0/ Let's choose evolution over stagnation. Keep the conversation going. Acknowledgement. No act of humanity happens in isolation, and neither does the creation of a book. This guide exists because of the love, wisdom, and support of so many people who have shaped my life and work. To my family, thank you for being my roots and my resilience. A special thanks to my Grandma Jo, my dad Sam, and my cousins Brianna, Eric, Tyler, Jennifer, Shannon, and Sylvia. To my great-aunt Shirley, whose kindness echoes through generations. And my nephew Zach, who reminds me that the future is bright. I am grateful for you all. To Tim, my partner of almost 17 years, and counting, who goes above and beyond to try and understand me, loving me in both subversive and overt ways. Your patience, care, and quiet acts of devotion sustain me more than words can express. To Zeshan Asgar, thank you for your skillful guidance in refining and formatting this book. You not only helped shape these musings into something more accessible, but also walked me through my first self-publishing journey with patience and encouragement. To Jane Goodall, Frans de Waal, and the many brilliant primatologists who have spent their lives observing and learning from our fellow primates. Your work has illuminated the deep, ancient roots of empathy, cooperation, and care, proving that kindness is not just human, but woven into the very fabric of our evolutionary story. Thank you for reminding us that to understand ourselves, we must first understand the creatures who share our world. To the ancestor Martha Graham, who reminds us that no artist is ever satisfied. May the restless, relentless creative spirit continue to push us toward deeper expression, knowing that the work is never done, only ever evolving. And to every reader who picks up this guide, you are part of this story too. May these words inspire you to embrace kindness as both an art and an act of quiet. Rebellion. Ever yours, A conspirator in humanity, Ken. Prelude to the subversive. I had a nightmare. Now reread that. Let it sit with you for a moment. I am a humble, first-time author, a proud American of Irish-German mixed heritage, raised in rural Pennsylvania, a pale-skinned, queer, middle-aged man who deeply respects Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I have a dream" legacy. And yet here I am, opening this book with the opposite, a nightmare. One so vivid, absurd, and unsettling that it jolted me awake, heart-pounding, sweat-soaked, knowing my psyche had crossed a line. In this night terror, I stood in the rose garden on a perfect spring day, the air thick with the scent of fresh blossoms. It should have been a scene of renewal, of possibility, but instead, chaos. A massive, belligerent, obese orangutan, fur-matted, face twisted in a grotesque snarl, was flinging shit at everyone in sight. He was relentless, screeching, thrashing, desecrating every inch of what should have been sacred ground. And the worst part? No one was stopping him. Some watched in stunned silence. Others, incredibly, cheered. Prelude to the subversive. I had a nightmare. I woke up rattled, my body still trapped in the grip of the nightmare. Disoriented, I stumbled into the bathroom, flipped on the light, and did what humans have done for generations in moments of existential crisis. I splashed cold water on my face, again and again. Anything to shake off the lingering dread. Finally, I looked into the mirror, locking eyes with my own reflection, and whispered, "It was just a dream. A really bad dream." But was it? Because the nightmare didn't end when I opened my eyes. As I stood there, still dripping, something stirred in the back of my mind. A memory from childhood, the first time I watched the original King Kong. Even as an ape-loving kid, I was terrified of the claymation monstrosity. His jerky, unnatural movements, his eerie, exaggerated face. It wasn't the awe-inspiring majesty of the great apes I had come to admire. It was something else, something unsettling, something wrong. And yet, by the end of the movie, I felt something I didn't expect. Pity. Because Kong didn't deserve his fate. He was a misunderstood creature, hunted down for simply existing. His demise was a manufactured tragedy, orchestrated by those who saw him as a monster, rather than a being worthy of compassion. But this current tragedy, it's real, and it isn't the story of one misplaced giant. It's the story of a world being led off a cliff by an entire system built to prioritize power, profit, and spectacle over people. In real life, an equally bloated, belligerent, disrespectful, orange-tinged primate had taken up residence in the White House, and unlike King Kong, who, let's be honest, was just trying to survive in a world that feared him, this one wasn't some tragic anti-hero. This one relished the destruction. If, by sheer accident, he happened to do something for the greater good, it would be as coincidental as King Kong redesigning the Empire State Building while climbing it in self-defense. We, as a species, are hitting a wall. Our collective psyche is breaking under the weight of our own hubris, our disconnection, our inability to see beyond the myths we've been sold. We are primates with technology too advanced for our emotional intelligence, still clinging to hierarchies, still mistaking dominance for strength, still failing to evolve where it matters most. So what do? How do we break free from this nightmare? We start by dreaming. Not passively, not with wistful longing, but with subversive, deliberate, creative acts of resistance, with the kind of dreaming that stirs revolutions, not just in the streets, but in our hearts, our minds, our relationships, our daily interactions. The kind of dreaming that turns the tools of oppression into instruments of liberation. This book is my offering, my small act of defiance against despair, a collection of subversive strategies, some ancient, some radical, all within reach, that, applied with intention, might just help us untangle ourselves from this mess. Little by little, person by person, action by action, we can wake up. We can reclaim our humanity. We can rewrite the story. But first, we must have the courage to dream. And then, the willingness to act. Little by little, person by person, action by action, we can wake up. We can reclaim our humanity. We can rewrite the story. This is not a drill. This is not a dream. This is our wake-up call. Let's answer it. Chapter 1. My wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Maya Angelou. Subversive Act Number 1. Spread kindness through small, genuine acts of care and connection, while honoring your limits and practicing kindness toward yourself. Introduction. Why bonobos inspire us. Let's start our journey with a foundational principle: kindness. Among our closest living relatives, bonobos stand out as a species defined by empathy, cooperation, and connection. Unlike chimpanzees, bonobos live in peaceful, matriarchal societies where affection and collaboration, rather than aggression, are the norm. Discovered relatively late in the 20th century, bonobos were initially mistaken for chimpanzees until pioneering research by scientists like Frans de Waal revealed their unique behaviors. De Waal, 1997. Bonobos teach us an essential truth. Kindness is not a weakness, but a survival strategy. In bonobo groups, individuals comfort one another through hugs, kisses, and grooming. They share food willingly, even with strangers, fostering trust and cooperation. Hare, 2020. If these hippie apes can thrive through compassion, so can we. As Aesop reminds us, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. For humans, kindness often feels radical in a world that glorifies individualism and competition. Yet, as I experienced firsthand during my first trip to the grocery store post-lockdown, kindness can also feel exhausting. I was overwhelmed by the collective distress of strangers' anxiety visible in their faces and movements. Small gestures of warmth felt necessary, but drained me completely by the time I returned home. Moments like that taught me that kindness must also be sustainable. Like bonobos, who balance generosity with rest and connection, we must remember that caring for ourselves is part of the equation. This chapter is about embracing kindness as a subversive act, one that strengthens our shared humanity while acknowledging our individual limits. Primate connection. The power of kindness in bonobo societies. Bonobos are a testament to the evolutionary value of kindness. They resolve conflicts with affection. Instead of resorting to aggression, bonobos use physical closeness, such as grooming and touch, to diffuse tensions. White, 1996. Create harmony through matriarchal leadership. Female bonobos form alliances that promote social stability and cooperation. Hare, 2020. Demonstrate generosity. Bonobos share food and resources with their group members and, even with those outside their immediate circle. Tan and Hare, 2013. These behaviors aren't just nice. They're survival strategies. By prioritizing connection and care, bonobos thrive in a way that offers profound lessons for humanity. Imagine what we could achieve by adopting similar principles in our daily lives. A human story. The ripple effect of small acts. During one particularly difficult week, I stopped at a local cafe for a moment of calm. The barista looked visibly overwhelmed, juggling orders and spills behind the counter. When she apologized for the wait, I smiled and said, "You're doing great. Take your time." She paused, visibly startled, and smiled back. "Thank you," she said softly, her shoulders visibly relaxing. When she handed me my coffee, she added, "This one's on me." That small exchange reminded me that kindness doesn't have to be grandiose. It lives in simple gestures, like a patient smile or a word of encouragement. Kindness isn't just a one-way street. It ripples outward, often returning to us in unexpected ways. Dark thought. Experiment. Imagine a world where kindness is extinct. People rush past one another, heads down, disconnected and indifferent. Small acts of care, holding a door, offering a smile, or lending a helping hand are forgotten. Relationships grow cold, communities dissolve, and the warmth of human connection fades entirely. Now imagine the opposite. A world where kindness thrives. Strangers greet each other warmly. Friends offer help without hesitation, and every small act of care strengthens the fabric of society. Which world do you want to live in? What can you do today to bring more kindness into your corner of the world? When you're too tired to be kind. There will be days when offering kindness to others feels impossible. On those days, remember, kindness begins within. Dr. Martha Beck's practice of KIST, kind internal self-talk, offers a powerful way to care for yourself. When negative self-talk creeps in, pause. Speak to yourself as you would a dear friend, offering phrases like, "You're doing your best," or "It's okay to rest today." Reflect on what you truly need in that moment and give yourself permission to honor it. By practicing kindness toward ourselves, we refill our emotional reserves. Together, these acts create what I call a kinder garden, a space where empathy, connection, and self-care can flourish side by side. Interactive exercises. The Compliment Challenge. Each day this week, offer at least one genuine compliment to someone around you. Be specific and observe how it's received. Kindness Journal. At the end of each day, write down one act of kindness you gave and one you received. Reflect on how these moments shaped your day and your mood. Circle back to yourself. On days when kindness feels overwhelming, practice KIST. Write down 3 supportive kind statements for yourself, such as, "I am allowed to rest," or "I am enough as I am." Reflect on how this changes your mood. Kindness Ripple Tracker. Track the ripple effects of your kindness. Did someone pass it on? How far did your small act travel? Evidence-based practices. Loving kindness meditation. Studies show that practicing loving kindness meditation increases empathy and reduces stress. To begin, sit quietly and breathe deeply. Start with yourself, silently repeating, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace." Extend these wishes to others, friends, family, even strangers. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. Mindful acts of kindness. Mindful kindness offering care with full presence amplifies its impact on both the giver and receiver. Reflection questions. How does practicing kindness, whether toward yourself or others, impact your emotional well-being? What fears or insecurities hold you back from showing kindness more openly? What is one small act of kindness you can try this week to create a ripple effect in your community? Conclusion. Kindness is more than a virtue. It's a survival strategy. Bonobos remind us that care and connection form the foundation of thriving communities. For humans, kindness connects us to others, builds trust, and leaves a lasting impression. When kindness toward others feels too heavy, circle back to your own heart. Together, we can create a kinder garden. One small act, one gentle word, one moment of compassion at a time. We may not know exactly what thoughts run through the minds of our great ape relatives, but we do know they are capable of remarkable kindness. Across species, across circumstances, we have observed apes offering comfort, forming deep bonds, and even going out of their way to help those in need. Take, for example, Binti Jua, the western lowland gorilla at the Brookfield Zoo. In 1996, when a 3-year-old human child fell into her enclosure, she didn't react with aggression or indifference. Instead, she gently picked him up, cradled him, and carried him to safety, protecting him until zoo staff could reach him. Her instinct wasn't to harm, it was to help. Acts like these remind us that compassion is not just a human invention. It is a deeply rooted part of our primate nature. We are not alone in our capacity to care, to soothe, to offer kindness. And if our great ape cousins can show such tenderness, then surely we too can choose to be a little gentler with ourselves. So go back to the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. And this time, fill your reflection with words of kindness. Absolutely kinder. We can be absolutely kinder. We can be.